Hello learners, welcome back to my channel and welcome you to this video. In this video, I am going to talk about a very basic but still important concept to know. Maybe you are learning NX Open already and you have come across this thing very often. I'm talking about library unload option. So you might have seen this line of code at the end of the program in most of the cases. But you might not know what is the requirement, why it is at all required to unload the library from the session or from the memory. So if you're not clear about what exactly it is, and if you don't know what will be the consequence if you don't use this line into your code, then what can go wrong? And there are certain options as well. So there are three options that you can play around with related to unload or library unload. So what is the meaning of that three and what is the difference between that three? If you wanted to know all of that details, then do watch this video till the end. What I do through this kind of videos is that, of course, I wanted to help guys like you know get the knowledge about NX Open programs, and also I wanted to spread the awareness on the topic so that design engineers like you can learn from this, and also they can think of learning the NX Open skill set and developing some programs for their own use so that you can work productively into your job, and definitely you will add one more skill into your skill set. Okay, so this is what my intention is, and let's come back to the topic and let's see what is this unload options. You can see on my screen is I do have got this public function, and this public function itself is called as get unload option. And now you can have a look at this line. This says that session dot library unload option dot immediately. Now what is session? Session represents the NX session. If you are already learning with me and you have watched my previous videos, you know what is NX Open dot session. Now there are these library unload option. This is nothing but enumeration, and this returns the integer value. It returns 1, 2, or 3. It describes when the automation library should be unloaded from the running session. So now you got your first answer here itself, that why at all it is required. This is required to unload the automation library from a running session, because if we keep this loaded, then there are certain consequences of it and your program might not work correctly. One of the consequences which is a very troubleful for you all is that when you create your program into NX Open using NX Open, sorry, when you create your program in a NX Open program and you create that in Visual Studio, and let's say if you miss out on using this unload option, if you do not have this function at all, what happens is that when you build your solution and create the DLL out of it, and when you try to run that DLL or debug that DLL into the NX environment, once you finished with debugging, at that time you won't able to rebuild it. What happens is that because your automation library is still got loaded into the NX session, and as you have not unloaded it from the running session, it means that you are not able to rebuild your solution again unless you manually unload it. And what you need to do in that case is you have to close your annexation. If you have to terminate your annexation manually, and once you terminate it, the automation library gets unloaded, and then you can go and rebuild uh, your your solution, and then you can kickstart. I will even show you what I mean by error in the rebuild. If I rebuild this now, okay, uh, forget I do have this unload option here, but I still have that issue in my solution. That is for some that is for the same reason actually. Okay, you can see that could not load the DLL, unable to copy file. It means that I am not able to compile the DLL. Rebuild is not successful. And as the rebuild is not successful, whatever changes or whatever new addition that I have done into my code, that is not reflecting into the DLL because DLL is still the older one. And to handle this, I have to go and kill my annexation. I have to close the annexation and relaunch it so that I can able to rebuild it. So this is the major drawback you will see when you do not use this library unload option. Now let's see what is else mentioned in the IntelliSense here. To use the enumeration, implement static function called GetUnloadOption. You can see the same function we do have. It is a static public function and the name itself is GetUnloadOption. Okay, then what else is which returns one of the option as an integer. Okay, note that this function must also have a string argument that is currently not used by anything. NX will call this method once the automation program has exited to determine when to unload the library. Okay, so what we have to do, we have to write the function, static function, which is also a public function, and we have to write it which returns the integer because this function or this library unload option is anyway going to return the integer. So we have to have the return type of function, and to have that return type of function I have used int here, and it is returning that integer number. Now I have used immediately as an option. So immediately means the integer is 1 and unload the library as soon as automation program has completed. Here we got the another answer. What is mean by immediately? Once our program finishes or once our program comes to the end, this is the function that is going to be executed. And once this function is executed, then automation library has got unloaded because of we have run this line of code. So it uh, termination of that library, unloading of that library happens immediately once we have this option. Now, what if we have other option? Dot at termination. So what is mean by at termination? At termination integer is 3. It unloads the library when NX session terminates. It means that when I manually terminate the annexation, only that time the library will unload. It will not unload because I do have this unload function here. Because at termination is the option that I have used, and it means that it will only terminate at the when I terminate the annexation. Okay, the third option is explicitly. Explicitly means it is an integer 2, and it unloads the library from the unload share image dialog. Again, it is the very similar to the first one. The second one at termination that we have seen. It terminates it at termination, but it is again a manual thing. Okay, so what is mainly used is that we use immediately because it terminates it immediately, and we need to not bother about the unload. We do not need to do anything manually to unload the automation library. Okay, so this is the the meaning of a library unload option, and these are the three different options that we have to choose from. If you wanted to know more about the unload options, then you can definitely go and refer this help page. This help page is available on the NX Programming Tools help site by Siemens. And here you can read out this entire details, entire information given about the unload options. They have a very well explained what exactly is get unload option. These three options, so these three uh, immediately, explicitly, at termination, these three options also they have explained very well, and they have given the good enough information about library unload option. So if you wanted to know, then this is the page that I will encourage all of you to go and read. Okay, that's it about this video. I hope you got the clarity about the unload options in NX Open. Now I will keep creating such videos, such knowledge videos that will help you gain more and more knowledge about NX Open. But yeah, at the same time, if you wanted to fast track your learning, you can definitely join me and you can learn from me. Uh, in order to know what kind of learning that I can offer to you, do join my master class. Do join my webinar. Webinar link to the webinar you will find into the comment section below. So you go and register for that webinar. I will see you live in the webinar where I can also answer your personal queries so that you get the complete clarity about learning NX Open programming. So with this, thank you for uh, being there till the end. I will catch you in the next knowledge video. Thank you and bye bye. Take care.